Hello. Hello, Sayed. Hello, Habib. Can you hear me? Hello, guys.
Hello.
Morning. Um, I actually joined this call early because, yeah, Ron, how are you doing? How is it going over there? So I actually joined this call to assist Sayed. He's having some issue around, uh, maybe I think featured products. I think he's using the kind of drop down to do that. So I feel like if we can just like join this call and just like be doing it, because I realized that you guys will be submitting at the end of this week. So if you can just use some time to just like address any potential issue that you guys may be having, because I really wish everybody passed this and just move on to the next thing. So Sayed, can you speak up now, or probably just go straight to and share your screen? I just want to see what you're seeing over there. Sayed, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, I know. Oh, you're having mic issue. Okay. So baby, you can just spend some time to just fix it. So I'll still be around waiting for you. How about any one of you guys? How are you guys doing? How is your CA coming up? I actually I actually plan to um discuss debugging with you guys, but I think this might not be the right time to talk about that, because right now the main thing you want to get out is the CA, and you want to get everything to pass.
Hey.
I think your mic is working now.
Yeah, I think it's working now. Got privacy settings, so I just changed that one.
Okay, okay. Do you want to share your screen?
Just give me a second, please. I have
Okay.
really crazy screen now. Yeah, yeah. Just clean it a little. Oh, I can share the screen. Do you know? I don't have any idea.
If you look at the top of your screen, if you check some button at the top, the second button from the right is share.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
So
Like,
now want to share, just select it and just double click it.
the share, and then
You have some options there telling you which of the screens. Sometimes you may have like two screens, so you just like provide you an option to select which one do you want to share with us.
yeah, just written
So you need
share
to
sound, include computer sound, and then sorry, strange.
then just go with the screen, the option on that screen. Just double click it.
Yeah, I have to again change the privacy, but still it's not working. Screen recording, I cannot just do that shit. Yeah, sorry for this, but no, when I click on share, there's nothing that says that I can share my screen. That's a little strange.
Oh,
Microsoft.
so from my end here, I don't know what you guys are seeing there, but from my end here, if you go to the top, where I think the toolbar section there, you see on the right hand, you see leave. Then before leave, there is share button. If I click it, I have some like a kind of drop down. Then the drop down, you have some options to select which screen do you want to share. There is screen, there is window. So I'm going to just double click screen. And before you know it, I'm sharing my screen. I hope you can see my screen now.
Yeah, I see your screen, but when I click on share, I cannot. I don't see anything. It's just.
So
Yeah.
you should see your screen, then we should now be seeing your screen. Oh, yours. I just stop sharing anyway. Someone is dropping a comment.
Because yeah, there's screen recorder.
Maybe either of you guys, can you guys try to share your screen?
Yeah, because I cannot.
Maybe Hans, Charlotte, or whoever, please. Just try and share your screen. So as you can see someone just shared the screen. So
sure.
it could be an issue with your system anyway.
Yeah, I have just problem with the privacy. When I click, then it's not possible to select the Microsoft team. So then I can share. That's the thing.
Did you log in with your student's email?
Yeah, I did.
So hold down the issue.
I can maybe send like a screenshot on the chat maybe, and then we can talk.
Yeah, I think the major issue is that you are not getting the options selected. Somehow when you change the values of the selected option, that means the drop down inputs, it's not actually picking it. So, and the way you wrote your code is that when the value changes, you want the page to re-render. So just like the screenshot you sent to me, we can't actually get the value at all in the console there. So we try to debug it using the console log, try to just log the value of the select option there, and it's not coming at all. So once that is not coming, that means you can't trigger it. If you look at that particular code, at the bottom of that code, is you have some options there where you are trying to just render based on whatever the value is. So the value is we have to try and look around selecting an option from the select inputs, then make sure that you get the value, then pass the value to the function, because that function, maybe I should just like share my screen here. Let me just share my screen and just like, please guys, you might be hearing some noise in the background. I have my son around and they are on holiday. It can be disturbing somehow. Oh, so hi. So this is what I'm talking about here. If you look at what we're trying to do here, okay, we're just trying to just pass an event listener to this element. I believe this is select element, okay? So you are passing the event is change event, and this is the callback pass to this here. So what we are saying is that you are getting the value, the current value, and you're passing it to this variable. And at the end of the day, you're passing it to this function. The function, if you scroll to the top here.
Do you see now?
I'm sharing my screen. I don't think I can see your thing. Let me just finish this, please. I will just stop sharing. So if you see this is get product here, so it's accepting the variable. So when you don't pass anything, I think it still look fine. The only thing is that if you don't pass anything, if you don't pass this filter option here, Think okay, so
I
to
don't
this
see,
place, you will
uh,
not even you
I
can see
did
my screen?
I don't see, but I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry. Can anybody see my screen over
No,
there?
I cannot see it either.
Oh, I thought I was sharing my. I think I'm sharing it. What happened? Let me try and share it again, please. Okay. Can you now? Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can see.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about here. Okay, in this section here. So I think the issue is coming from this part because when you add you log this select option here, we are not getting anything from, I mean, the console. So if you can look around here, because this is an input and you pass an event listener to this. So the event is changed and this is the callback here. So what happens is that when this event is triggered, we want to execute these two lines of code here, and we're getting the value, okay, from the input here. We are passing it to this variable select option, and we are passing it here. So this get product, I've gone through this get product. I don't think there is any issue with it. It starts from here, so it's accepting filter option here. So when there is filter option, we want to make some decision around here. Okay, I just saying that if filter option is strictly equals to featured, and you're just selecting which of the API you want to use. You want to go with the feature one or you want to go with the ordinary one. So just look around here, this particular angle here. I think you will get what the issue is here. So it looks like maybe this event is not actually triggering or somehow. Just look at it. Okay, let's look. This filter element, where is it coming from? Should be at the top here. Okay. Filter select. Do you have more than one select there?
I don't think so. It's only one.
So I don't know, maybe can you try to like log this filter, or maybe you can just assign a kind of ID and just select with ID instead.
I should change this to ID.
So what I'm saying is that I'm see the issue is around there. So when you lost something, you have to look all around places. So I'm just saying that you can just start from, is this actually defined? So if you to get to know that, you have to just come back here and see. So the impression I have here is that when you use this thing, this is giving an impression that probably you have many select inputs. So because you are using class and you are using the name of the input here, I mean the type of the input here. So I'm just saying that if you can try to just pass an ID to that input and just get the input with an ID instead of the class and the name here. So it will not be a pound sign with the ID value. So as you can see, this is the screenshot you sent to me, and I can't see anything here. Hi, Ernesto. Let's just stop sharing my screen. So guys, maybe I should just like try and just recap what I said when you guys were not here. I was saying that today we want to focus on whoever is having issue, one or two issue with their CA, because I think you guys you have to submit your CA by Sunday. So we just choose like maybe from today till maybe on Friday, just like try as much as possible to just get assistance if you are still struggling with one or two things. I know some of you have done pretty well. I've seen some delivery, so and I think everything looks good for some people, and that cannot be said to everyone in the class. And I know this is a large class, so let's try as much as possible to hold our hands and just get everything to just make sure that everybody passed there. When nobody, just look at it, nobody is interested in failing anybody here. Our own concern is that those concepts, JavaScript concepts, WordPress concepts, or WooCommerce, we want you to actually grab it. Once you grab it, you can actually go all out and fix whatever issue you might be having. And before I actually came to the conclusion that I'll be focusing on make sure that everybody who is having issues, we resolve them, I was planning to actually talk about debugging because I think at this level now, writing code is a bit easy for some people until they encounter an issue. There are some error. They are expecting something to happen. The thing is not happening that way. So they will not be they will get stuck. And that's why I think we should just like look at debugging again. So, but probably maybe when we now move on to project examination, we can just like maybe use some time to just talk about that. But I want us to actually see if you're having issue, just talk about it now. Let's just see how we can help one another and just get everybody to pass CMS. Sure, as I will tell him, or it's just that he's not around here. It can be disturbing somehow.
Was that for me?
Yeah. I saw your comment here. Tell your son hello from Norway. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. Hello. No, I personally I'm wondering if the like I have the add to cart functioning
Oh,
ish.
okay.
But how important is it to have it like perfect for this CA?
Okay. I think the best way to answer this is just to just show the proof of the CA. But as far as I can tell, we don't want to. We are not actually asking you to do that. But you know, when you up and running when it comes to your a particular task and you deliver it as much as possible, I think maybe within just few days, you might want to actually get something done. I said, probably maybe you are tired, you just want to like do extra. I think I understand everybody who is trying to just go all out to just get everything there. This actually tells when you finally get a job because you are actually building yourself. You are not staying at, yes, we set an expectation. If you look at all those expectations, we are trying to just capture virtually, let's say, like maybe everybody in the class. We know that it's what we call individual differences. So we just want to make sure that we do that. But let me just try and just go. Yeah, this is it here. Am I still sharing my screen? Let me see. No, let me share my screen again. And like I used to say, I would say that the experience for this semester course, I think is not straight enough. You guys have to just pass through a lot before you can just get everything done. And I would say from my own point of view, I have to just apologize because learning should be as smooth as possible. But you guys started this before I could realize that a lot of things is not in this content. And then we can't afford to change the way why you guys are already up and running. So that could actually even break every other things. So look at it here, please. This is the level one process here. Okay, we want you to install a WordPress locally using your preferred tools. I want you to install WooCommerce plugin so that you can just have some product there. We want to add at least 5 products to the WooCommerce. So this time around, we don't want you to add it to the post. We want you to add it to the plugin that you added. So you must be able, you must have this WooCommerce there. Then at least we want you to designate at least one product as featured, which I think Oliver actually tried to show you how to do that last week. In fact, I saw that some of you guys actually contributed. They suggested a simpler way of achieving that last week. So you have to create a neural of admin using a strong, unique password, then deploy WordPress instance to a remote. So this is the the first part of it. I mean, you need to do some setup on the WordPress side. Then the next one, we wanted to create a JavaScript to fetch an array of the product data from the WordPress API. So this is there is no different from what you did in JavaScript 1. You are actually consuming API, but the thing is that this is like we want you to learn something about CMS. You are actually communicating with the CMS with the API. That is why the CMS is headless rather. We don't want to like do the normal thing, because you going to the CMS and be adding data, like go to the platform and be adding it. This is something that somebody who has not even gone through a front-end development program can actually do. That's the essence of CMS. CMS is just to make it easy for people to just like do some edit, add some new stuff and stuff. So we believe that if a layman on the street can just do that, that should not be the primary focus of this. You already know CMS, but we want you to like use API to do that, because with API, you can decide what JavaScript framework you want to use. Do you want to use Svelte? Do you want to use Angular? Do you want to use React? Do you want to use Vue? It doesn't matter. Once you have a hold of the API. And then, so we wanted to do some fetch here. You can use your fetch, but I think some people can still use Axios, or you can use any other API to just make a fetch. Then you create JavaScript functionality to fetch a single API. This one is not a bug. The first item says you should fetch all. Then the second item is saying that you should be able to fetch single. That means if you have if you've been able to fetch all products, we want you to have some functionality to view the details of a particular product. So more or less like probably in the landing page, you have a list of products. Like when you click one of it, we want you to just go to the new page and just be able to see it. That's another thing we want to see there. Wow. Then create JavaScript functionality to render a grid of product details in HTML as thumbnail. So this is like more or less like we wanted to just have some card to render the products. Okay, we wanted to. That means in the UI we wanted to have a card. It doesn't matter what we say grid. It doesn't matter if you have you use like a CSS grid. It doesn't matter. Just use either Flexbox or use your CSS grid or whatever you like. We just want to see everything laying out in the kind of a table for kind of a thing. Okay. Then the next thing is filter feature product from the list and show these in their own section. This means that probably, let's say this is the section. I'm just want to just cite an example. This can be the section where you have all the product fetched. Then you just create a new section. You can just maybe featured, so that under that you just render only the featured product there. But in most cases, I think the featured product can just come at the top, while other product can just come under. It depends. All we just want to hear here is that we want you to have a section for featured products. Okay, it doesn't matter where you have it first or not. It doesn't matter. We just want you to have a section, probably in the landing page or elsewhere or something like that. Just have it there. Then make sure that all changes, sorry, please, I think I missed this. Create a product details page that uses an ID, search parameter, render a single product. Now, let me just like try and connect these two, these item 5 and item 3 to these two functionality here. Here they are saying create JavaScript to fetch something. That means you have to create a JavaScript file, right? To fetch all. Then you have to create another JavaScript file to fetch a single item. Please, when I say creating it, you might have it in just one file. And you can just create a function, say get all products, get single products. You can just now export it. You guys know how to import and export. You can just export it. It doesn't matter there, please. So what we are saying is that this function we create here, the function we created called get fetch all, you have to use that in this part. Okay, so you have to use that to render the product in the form of table here. Why? What you do here is you have to call this function here. This function is to fetch a single product, and you want to render a product here. So you use it. This is more or less like what we did in JS1. In JS1, when you click an item, you go to you get the ID from like the search params in the URL. So you just fetch it and you pass the ID to the function here. Okay, this is just like you're saying. I can just like try and just demonstrate what you are trying to say there. So make sure that all changes to your project are committed and pushed. That means we are talking about Git here. Okay, we want to see the changes in your what's it called? your repository here. So you have to create like a repo, then you push everything there. We know we just need to just like I think this is the part we want to see you pushing. That means we want to see the JavaScript function. And we want to see the HTML where you show all those things, where you show the features product, you show all product there. Then you deploy it here. So if you look at this deployment is talking about this part, this consuming the WordPress API. So that means deployment, as far as this is concerned, is optional. Okay, we know, I think Oliver has done pretty well to explain the reason why here. We know not everybody. In fact, some of you must have exhaust the opportunity provided in the maybe DigitalOcean or any other platform you want to upload your product from. But once you are done that, we don't want a situation whereby I'm stuck because and that this and that. So if you don't have money, it's not an issue. Just provide enough credentials so that whoever wants to access you, we just go down and just access it there. So to answer your question, and we are not actually assessing you based on the add to cart functionality. Okay, but it's good that you have it. And in fact, look at this deployment, in fact, is even optional here. It means that everything you see here is optional. Then look at level 2 process. Implement client-side sort and filter options for product. This is optional. If you don't have it, it doesn't mean that you cannot score distinction here. If you don't have anything down here, you can still store your distinction. Some example include sorting by price, filtering by distance. So if you are stuck here, I would say, don't worry. If I have enough time, or if you can just reach out to anybody, if I'm kind of busy, anybody can just assist you in this. Okay, then that's the reason why we added some methods here. We know that some of you must have like maybe forgotten filter or any other array method. So this is why we have all these things here. So the delivery, that's the there. I hope I've been able to answer that question. I think the question is that is add to cart really compulsory as far as this CS is concerned? The answer is no, but it's good you exceed the expectation because you're actually building yourself.
Thank you, Abby.
All right. This is my local setup here. And I just want to see if I can just like go out and just see, maybe I can just demonstrate one or two things that we have here. I think I have something good. This is the URL here. And I think it's good that you guys know what a postmark is. And I think by this now, I think you guys must have come across this. Wow. Sorry, guys. So look at it here. I'm just trying to just like run something like this. So you can see I'm getting like 2 items here. These are an array. I'm getting 2 items here. The reason is that the feature should be featured. When I click enter key here, I'm just see one thing about API, a third-party API. Let me just put it that way. An API that is not written by you, you just want to use it as a front-end engineer. It's good that you understand every data you're getting back. But that will help you to add some catches. That will help you to improve the security of your website because you know what you are expecting. Then you can now put some cache and say, if this is what you are getting back is not in this format, please send that person back and say the person is not doing the right thing. So security should be the first thing you consider as a front end because you can expose your potential customer to a lot of danger. And I've seen a lot of lawsuits that you as a front end engineer, they can put it in trouble. So please always make sure use your postmark to understand this thing. This is an array. Okay, the array has an object. So because I have like maybe I just have 2 items, in the WooCommerce entity there. So one of it is featured while the other is not featured. So if I remove this and just press enter key, you will see it there. Okay, I'm getting like 2 items now, as you can see there. So now I understand the formats I'm having this. So how do I just like move on? So I don't have cross-course projects here. Let me just like see if, because one thing I like about you continue working on your cross-course project is that like maybe 80% of the team that you join has an existing product they're working on. So in that case, when you join the team with an existing project, you have to, when you join the team, you have to learn the product first. Then you continue helping them to build it on to fix a lot of bugs or build another features. So you, in your own case, you have an existing project and we want you to like modify it. Prior before now, it was the data you have there, it was static data. Now we are saying that use an API to change this thing. I don't know if we can just like, do I have a cross-course projects? Let me see. I think I should have one, but let's see. Like a kind of rainy day or anything. I will just convert it to, oh, this boy. Sorry, please. I don't like the noise. Please, can you just give me like a second, please? Probably a minute, please. Let me just. All right, I'm back, please. I think we have some comment here. Are we going to do more work on this foreign period later on, next year or whatever? Or is this basically our last instance, including game up, blah, blah, blah? Just created. So, project exam, because I think after this you are having two, I think two courses to deal with. I don't know if that has been changed, but I think I would just like I would prefer to answer this question later, because after this you are having project exam 1, and after that you'll be having semester project 1. So I will go through the content and just like come back and reply to this, please. Okay. I think the use of branches is important, but it haven't been mentioned much. Also, delivering should deploy branches I'll overwrite the main page might be. I think the best way to work, but not only when you are working on your CA, in any time you are implementing a new feature, it's good for you to create a new branch. So when you create a new branch, you complete the work and you feel like, wow, this feature has been completed. Then you can push to GitHub. When you push to GitHub, you can now do some like maybe you can raise a pull request and merge the changes to master. You still have the branch there. The reason why we are saying this is that I know most of you are like maybe you work in a way whereby everything you want to work, you just work on the main. The thing is that there might be issues. Probably everything was working before. Then before you now make some changes to it and things just scatter. Even though with Git, you can like remove a particular commit and do some stuff. But as a learner who is trying to still get every nitty-gritty about GitHub, you might not be, you might not find it easy to do stuff. So the way we work, in fact, the convention you should work in uh, Git is that any new feature should have a branch. Okay, just have a branch. But now, when you now want to deploy, it doesn't matter. It's either you choose the branch itself, you can deploy the branch, or you make that branch with the main and deploy main. It doesn't matter. Everything works. Whoever wants to grade you or assess your assignment is just interested in the changes. So whether I see that changes in a new branch or master branch, no. So you are right when you say we are not particular about whether you have it in this branch or that branch. We just want to see your work intact. Okay, it doesn't matter. I just created a branch and call it WordPress. Good, it's fine. This is a valid branch name. I don't notice. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, please. But if the deploy isn't for grading, the next is the can get that last question, please. So am I still sharing my screen? Okay, good. I will say let me just try and see if I can get some cross-code budget. I don't know. Do I have anything here? Ooh. Or is there anybody who can just like see this is square is good. Let's try this. Mm. Okay. Sincerely, I don't even know who owns this. I just want to like continue working on this. So I know. Let me just like close everything here. I'll close all. Okay. This is like index page. And we just like see it first. What are we even having there? So he has movies there. So the product in this case should be movies. Who was this? I think I can remember this. But believe me, I will not touch. I will only focus on these parts. Okay. I just want to render all, whatever I have there. Okay. Then maybe I can just create like a feature here. But we also want to like click to see the details of each of the items there. So how do we go about that? Let's come back here. So if you look at it, this is my image. This is the project structure. So you guys know that. And then left to me, because I have a project, I have image folder. Why don't I just move it down here? I'll just move it there. I don't care. It might scatter things, but I think this is the way it's supposed to be. So this is my style of CSS here. So believe that. So I can just create a new folder just for structure of a thing. We call it scripts. Okay. So I can create like a new file inside that. I will call it index.ts. I can just like okay. I think when the time comes, I'll be doing other stuff. There is good for you to like split a lot of code, don't mix things together. Or I will just continue to do that. I think the first thing you need like the API, but I would say Oliver actually did this. Okay, he did this like last week, but I just feel like let me just do it. If you're having issues in your own, so you know how to just approach this. So what I would just do, I think I have copied this. Let me say Control V. No. I need the complete this thing. And don't forget that I'm working on local. I think I have it here. Okay, Control. So grab this here, please. Don't forget about this. You can just leave it. You might not leave it there. Embed is just to like give you more data. When I have this, I think that I need to just call out this. Last week, Oliver was just like trying to just like separate the base URL from this. That is actually good. Okay, it's actually good. Why? Because sometimes you might want to, let's say, for instance, let me say cons product URL. So you can have this, or just like copy this. I can just copy it here, then delete this. Okay. So, but the issue here is that somehow you are repeating some things. Okay. And it might not look like a big issue to you, but one of the issue that you guys have when you are working on your code, like maybe JavaScript or anything, is like you can have some typo error, some spelling error or something like that. So if you're not very careful, that's the reason why we always advise you to go with constant. So if I want to like make this thing look good, I can have like a new API. I mean, a new constant here. I can call it const base. A constant is just base URL. So I can have my base URL to be something like I'll not stick with this. Start. Okay, let's just start from here. Okay, I'll copy it. I'm bringing it down here. I'm pasting it here, and this is it here. Okay, then I can now have featured. Right, featured underscore URL. You just have something like this. Then this is product URL, so I'll just use this product underscore URL. This is just the convention. When you are writing a function, your name should just be something like this. It's just a convention. I think you'll see it in Python, Java, or any other thing there. So this is it here. I can just create a function again and say, I can say fetch or product. Okay. But one thing you need to know is that, you know, if you want to fetch, you need fetch API. And believe me or not, you need to know when you see an API, like I said, always try as much as possible to understand what that API is all about. Fetch API. Okay. It just help you to just make a request to maybe some assets outside your reach. Okay. But what is important whenever you are getting there is that know what the input looks like. Any API, please know what the API function will accept and know what you're getting back. So I would just say the response from an API is always a promise. That is why Oliver was talking about async await last week. But using async await is not the only solution to like getting a promise. You can use the Dotton paradigm. Okay, so but to be sincere with you, the easy one to go with is to use the fetch up product place. Is to go with this. The reason that because it's easy, you find it easy to just go around with. Okay, I need to say I want to fetch, but when you say, let me say const let me say response equals to fetch. And this I need to just like explain this, please. This comes by default. This is available. It's an API, and you don't need to like to bring it in your application because by default is there in the browser. And you know this app I'm building here, I'm going to use it in the browser. So when the HTML execute this script and see this, it's already available here. In fact, I just take some moment because here, look at it. You see, this fetch provide an interface for fetching the sources. It's more powerful and flexible replacement. But I think it's there already in the window. I don't know if that is explained here. I will just like a okay. Using fetch here. I don't think it's explained here, but what I'm just saying is that if you are using another API, like you are using Axios, you need to come down to this HTML and just like add the script for that. But for fetch, you don't need to do that because that is actually available in the web browser. Okay, so you don't need to do that. Maybe as time goes on, you guys will understand it. This fetch is coming from the browser itself, so you don't need to like so this is the native way of just getting resource from third party here. Okay, and one thing about fetch is that the fetch accepts two inputs. You accept the URL and you accept an option. The option is just in form of an object. Let me just say URL and you say an option. The option is an, but this option is not required. So in my own case now, I want to fetch all products. So what I will just say is that I can just come here and say base URL. I will concatenate it with product URL. You can do the concatenation outside. I'm just trying to just do something like this, okay? So now, if you look at this is an async function. Okay, and here, I know this is as returning a promise. So you need to await it. If you don't await it, you will have an issue. Okay, you have an issue. So you have to just do something like this. So now let me just say equals results equals to, maybe I'll just say, okay, results equals to response dot JSON. And these two, you need to await it. Now, please look at it. I'm not even talking about where do I want to even put it here. I just want to see that the data from the WordPress API is actually coming. So just test this. When you complete like maybe, in fact, even a half of maybe the part of a feature, try and test it so that you're not just like, I don't know, when you just finish writing your code, you will not have an issue. That could be the issue with Habib, whereby you just discover that something, a particular section of the code is not working. But if you test it as you are building, you discover you understand it better. You know that this particular is working to this extent. So this is just the basic way of just doing it. You don't need to say you are just like you don't need to form like maybe a senior dev or this thing, please. Just try and go your own pace, please. So what I will just say here is I will just console log. I'll console log results. So let's see, because it might not work, it might work, you don't know. So I just want to make sure that I have the script here. I don't have the script here, so I need to add the script here. I'll say script. I need to create source. And source, I need to create script. Sorry. Script index. So if I come down here, you see here, let's try to inspect this page. So this is like a really nice tool you guys need to always fall in love with here. So nothing is coming here. I'm not seeing anything in my console here. So what is the issue? So can anybody just tell me what the issue is, please? I have it attached here, but somehow it's not. The only issue is that I have a function here, but the function is not executed. So I need to fetch products. I have it here. Okay, so we'll just come down here. Let's see. So you can see it's just coming. This is the product here. I only have 2 items there. Okay, so this is just it's coming. So now I have a function that can fetch all. Do I have? I need another function. There's a place. I need another function because I'm very sure this works. So you don't need to just like invent the wheel all over again, please. Just copy this, but change the name, fetch single products. Product. I think I need to change the name, single product. This is should be product. I have product here. But in this case, you need to change this. You need to concatenate these. You need to do something about this URL. What do I mean? Let me come back here. When you hit this, you get the 2 items. Okay. And if you check here, we have ID 17, right? If I want to get only these items with ID 17, how do I go about it? Let me just come down here and just see, I don't know, 17 or what. That's the reason why this is actually really nice. You can see I was able to get it. I just passed in the ID. So I was able to just one of it. So if I remove this again, I'm getting everything. So now I understand that. So if I want to get like the details of a particular item, I need to just like do a slash with the ID there. So I'll come back to my code. So what I'll just do is that this will accept an ID, we accept a parameter. So that parameter will be concatenated with this. Please, this method of concatenation is actually a long way. You can actually use like a temporal string to just, template string to just like do, literal string here, sorry. So you can just do something like ID that you use like a $sign here and you pass this there. So at the end of the day, what I'm doing is that I'm just concatenating the base URL with this product ID, then I'm passing the ID here. Okay, so now let me now come down here. I will do a kind of fetch again, but this time I'm fetching this fetch single this, and I'm passing 17 here. Okay. So I have the console log here, please. Let's just see it. I'll come down here. I want to see it again. I will say, you see, the first one is in line 16, and the second one is in line 9. And in fact, this is a question. If you look at my code, I have fetch all first, then I have fetch single product first. Second, right? So that means that this should be executed before this, right? So this is not, it will not happen that way. Why? Because that function is an async function. So they don't just follow one another. It can run in any order. As you can see, as I execute, I reload it here. This comes first before this. So they are running asynchronous. Asynchronous function simply means that it doesn't matter what comes first. So you can execute like a number of functions in like at the same time. So you just wait for whatever any function returns. So this comes fast. That's why you are seeing this first and this second. That's not where we are going, please. Now I have 2 functions. One is giving me all products, and one is giving me. Let's now take some moment to look at what we're having here, please. Look at this. I don't want to go over this because we have talked about this. So my concern is like, how do we go about this, please? So I have set up this. Now, this item 1 says create JavaScript to fetch an array of product data from WordPress API. I've just done that with that first function. So the second function, I just did that with this. It's as simple as that. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is just to create a grid to render the products. So if you look at this, I already have like a kind of grid here. I have it inside this place. Let me just like come back here, inspect this place. So I'm going to render all those products here. I don't know if I have some image here, but let's just see. So this is it inside this ID class movie list, because this class is already helping me to just generate a kind of a grid. So my own concern is just to remove everything I have from here down here and just replace it with the information I'm getting from the API. So how do I do that? So we need to just like write some function 2 again. Now, sorry, I need to first of all understand which. So this is index.html grid. So I need to look for movie list. In fact, this is a class. I don't need to even go that. So I'll come down here. I can just like do. Please, I think it's a good practice to always declare all your constant variable at the top of your file. You know, if somebody can just come down and say he wants to do it here, but just do it at the top so that everybody will see. It will be easier to read. I know if I'm looking for function, I will just go to the top of the file. Okay, so I can just come down here. I want to say cons. We'll say movie list, right? Movie list and equals to document dot query selector. It doesn't matter what API you are using, please. You can use document dot select element by class name, by ID, query selector, or whatever. Just do what works for you. Nobody's asking you to do a particular template. Just do anything that works for you. In this case, I'm selecting with movie dash list. Am I correct? And if you just go and check it first, that's the first thing. Because if you don't get this try, you're not going to get this section here. Okay, then I'm doing that. There is a typo here, please. So this will be a single. This is an assignment. It's not like a loose equality operator. So now what I'm going to do now, I have to just like do a kind of a comment out here. I'll create a function, and that function is like render render let me just say render products. Okay. One thing I have to just like say here, please. Some of you will do a lot of thinking, maybe to make your code look as if you are now a senior dev, you understand a lot of things. Please, the very first thing you do as a front-end engineer, first of all, implement it. Don't concentrate on best practice first. Just make it work first. Then after you have accomplished the fact that everything works, you can now see that how can I improve the code? Have a working code come first before improving it, please. That is, you have to know this, please. Make sure you have a solution. The solution is working. Yes, it might not be optimized. Then after you have a working product, you can now optimize it. So that's the reason why I don't care whether I want to use one stone to kill two birds. I just want to render products. I can now later like improve the code and make like this code to just work for any other things. I just want to solve one problem. That should be the only primary thing in your mind. Else, a lot of things will be running through your mind, and you have just one mind. And believe me or not, you are still a beginner. I know if you start with this, on the long run, probably like maybe 2 months, you have been doing this, everything will just fall in your mind. You already know that, no, I can just do something like that. Because a lot of things you'll be doing, at the end of it, if at the stage in in this field, you realize that you are just repeating some functionalities. Because say for instance, a client one walk up to you, he wants like an e-commerce website. Another client can still come and say he wants an e-commerce website. Then when you are doing the code, you discover that this thing I've done it before. So it will now sound like a kind of repetition. So that is why I say just do something, just go for simple things first. Simple things that works. Then later you can now optimize it. So during the optimization, you will not discover, wow, this thing is now becoming complex and complex. All right. So what this function is going to do is just to render products in the URL. Okay, so I will get product first. Okay, then I have to do a kind of await, because The reason why I have to do a kind of await is that this function I'm going to call here is an async. And if you want to like run an async, you need to call await. So that will now take also something else. If you are doing await here, look at it, there is an error here. It says await expression only allow within async functions and at the top level of modules. So I have to just come here and say async again. So you know why I'm having async here. It's because I want to have an await function inside it, so I have to have it there. You can see the error has gone now. Good. And I have the products. So now how do I just like add it there? The best thing you can do is to do something like this. This is image, yeah. Wow. It's just an image there. There is nothing more. But let's see what we can do. I'll come down here. Please let me go back, please. In this project, this Square Eyes project, this person only render image for each of these. Only image. In fact, there is no way, if I go with this, there's no way I can make it clickable and go to another page because it's an image. So probably I need to wrap it with an anchor tag that will help me to just do the job, but I have to just do some modification here. So that's the first thing we need to know. So the second thing is that I need to come back to this and understand some few things. Okay, this has an ID, name, short description. This is the price. Do we have any image? There is no image. Well, do I have image? No, there is no image here. There is no image here. Okay, that means I will not be rendering any image. I don't have image, add image to that product. If you want to do that, all you just need to do is just to go back to your WooCommerce and add a valid ID for the image of each product there. So I'm not going to do that, please. That means I will stick with just maybe, let me say, maybe the name. I'll use the ID. I can use the description, probably a kind of price. I'll use price. You can say this is Nigeria currency here. So I'll just stick with that anyway. This is the price, the regular price. I can use probably, there I go with this currency symbol or something like that, but let's just try and do something there. But believe me or not, we all know that this is an array. So that means I need to loop, do some looping. But let's just say, I will say product dot for each. For each, I will say maybe product. I'll just come down here. I just want to like do some stuff. Let me say console, the log, I'll have product. Please let me go back and explain what this for each statement is doing. This is an array. These are, you have the evidence here. But let me just try and just bring this up. This is an array. So what I want to do is that I want to go through this array. That means I will first of all undo this, render it in the URL, undo this again. So the one good method to use there is for each statement. You can use for loop, you can use for in, you can use for off, doesn't care, but this is for each. And the syntax of for each is that for each accepts a callback. And that callback accepts an argument. So what happened is that this is product, plural form of product. You can see S there. So I'm saying that at a particular time, at a given time, it will pass in the product. So first of all, you pass in the product with the ID 17. Then next time you pass in the next one there. So that's what I want to just show you here, please. And what I'm going to do here, I'm testing, like what I said, when you implement something, just try and test it before you move on to the next thing. So I will say render product. I'm coming down here. Let's see, do we have it here? So there is an error. I'll reload it. Okay, it says cannot read property of undefined for each. Now, this is another thing you need to please. Anytime you see this error, always read it, please. It's saying that I'm having the error in line 23. And the error is about something is undefined and I'm actually calling for each statement on it, which is not. For each statement is only valid for an array. If it is not an array, it will give you an error. So something is wrong. If you click this, we take you to the source section, saying that somehow this is undefined. So what is the issue? Okay, so to troubleshoot that, you can just come down to this and say, let's console log. Oh no, let's console log products. Okay, I would like to remove this. Oh, listen, please. I would like to remove this. Can anybody, in fact, let me just go on, please. I want to seek your opinion here, please. It's not all about my code is working, please. I like the fact that some of you are now providing assist to other colleagues in the channel. This is actually making me feel, I'm proud that now someone who is not that very vast in this particular field, like JavaScript, HTML, CSS, is providing assistance. It means that you guys have moved from one point to another point. It means that you are not wasting your time here. And this is something I told one of you guys when he was like, maybe he wants to quit this set and move to another. I said, it's not about, I know this thing. It's about, can you impart some knowledge on others? So when you know certain things, they can, and then when any question pop up in the channel, always strive to provide. And I know that I like your class. You guys are doing it. You guys are doing it. Before you know it, in fact, links are upon links. So thank you. I like the way you guys are operating. So now, please, I want you guys to just help me here. There is an error. So you can see this is undefined. What do you think could be the reason why I'm having that error? Let's try to just like see. What do you guys think could be the reason why we're having that error? Let me show the code again. Something is wrong in this function. Something is wrong in this function. Come back again. Anybody? All right, let's just move on, please. So what is wrong? There is nothing wrong in this code. The only thing is that I'm not actually returning the result. I called the function, yes. So the reason why it was actually giving you the impression that everything it looks good is because I'm using console log here prior before now. I have removed it. Console log is just to render that result in the console log, and it's not going to give it to anybody. So now I'm assigning this. I await it and I'm assigning it to this. Well, at the end of the day, I'm not returning anything from there. Immediately I come down and return. So that's the essence of return. You are returning result. What you are saying is that when anybody calls fetch or product, you execute this line, execute this line. At the end of the day, I want you to return this to whoever calls you. It's like you are sending somebody on an errand, and then when the person comes back, it drops the message to you. So if without this, always this product will be undefined. Please look at how I was able to get that. I had a kind of comments in the console log that says I have an error here. Okay, so please, if you are conversant with something like this, when anybody is explaining something to you and you see that something like cannot read property or something like that, you already have like an impression that this is what happened to your code. So now when I go to this and I discover that for each method can only works if this product is an array or somehow is undefined. So when I comes down here, so that is an experience anyway, but every function should return something. But my function is not returning anything. So it works, but it's not returning anything back to whoever is calling it. So that's why I have to use do that in there. So I will use that in, I will use that same method to just come down here because we want to return. When you write function, please try and return something there. If it could be a message to maybe success or something like that, just try and return something to tell that person that yes, this thing successfully work. So now if I just go and check it now, you see that I have something come back. This is the all of them, and this is the product. You can see it execute the first one here, and this is the second one here. So now we are very sure that within here, we have a hold of each one of the products inside it. So what do I need to do now? So that is why you can now say maybe render single product. Let me call it that way, single product. Okay, so I can have a function here. I can say function render single product. I like to put HTML here. Okay, and you accept product. Okay, so what is happening there is that I will create some, I will say wrapper. Do I need a wrapper there? I don't need a wrapper. I think I need wrapper. You see document dot create element. Yesterday, I think somebody reached out to me. The person is having an issue around create element. And I said it, I think I've been able to debug that, please. Either you like use HTML or you go with create element. Please, nobody bothers you here. Please just make sure you have something that is working. Okay. Though HTML, inner HTML is less secure compared to create HTML. Okay. But at this level, we just wanted to go for the most important things. Okay, because that is the CA. In fact, you just look at the other CA as somebody like a client walk up to you and say, I want this. Just do what that person asks you to do. And if there is any other, probably you want to now use your professionalism to advise the client, then you can now come straight. Probably you pass a comment or you had a kind of a document and say, yes, I want something like this. If you do this, it will be better. I can do what you asked me to do, but I think there's a better way of doing it. Let's do it this way. Do you agree? So you have to just learn that as a. So I want to create a div, but I don't want to create it. I want to create an anchor tag. The reason why I didn't use div is because I want something that I can click that can take me to another page. And I know anchor tag by natively can do that job. So I'm creating this. I'm calling it a wrapper. Okay. So this is the wrapper here. And what else do I have to have here? I can create another one. I can say create like a heading. The heading will be document dot create element. And I want to create like a kind of h2 in string. This is, so I will do the same thing to maybe description or body. Let me call it body. Okay, but this will not be h2 again. I'm creating h1. Please believe me or not, this line 21 you see here is the same thing as you do something like this, href, this. Okay. This line 21 is the same thing as this. This line 22 and 23, the same thing as you say H2 elements and you open it and you close it again. I hope you guys are understanding, but this is the way you do it in JavaScript. If you don't want to use inner HTML. Okay, so now I'm moving on, please. So the next thing I'm going to do now is that first, the wrapper, I'm going to pass an href there. So in that href, what I want to do is that I just want to like, let me come down here. I just want to like do like slash or probably okay slash. Should we go with that? Let me go with this. I will say question mark ID equals to string literal. Come here and say product dot ID. Okay, please. This thing I did here is the same thing that when you just come here and say you pass it ID or whatever here. That's what I'm just trying to do. So this thing is not that very difficult, but I think you need someone to actually show you what is actually going on there. So I did this already. And I think I need to do heading dot inner text or text content. I think I'll go with this equals to product dot what should we use name or title? I don't know if you have title there. Let's see if you have title. You have name, you have title. There's no title. We have description. But this is not even. This is ID, this is name, yes. We don't even have description. Wow. Can I just go here and just do some? Anyway, I will leave it this way. Then maybe we can just like do that later, please. So we have name here. Okay, I'm going to do for body. I'm going to do body.inner, not inner HTML, inner text. I'm going to do product dot description. Now let me just try just shipping something there, please. If you look at it, I'm repeating product. During that process, just consider if I want to like render like maybe 10 properties from these products. I want to render name, I want to render type, I want to render price, I want to render any other things there. Do you think, prevention, sometimes I can make error, spelling error. So instead of that, I think there is a better way you can go with that. You can do we can destructure this product. I know this might be something new to you. I can do ID, I can do name, I can do description here. Okay, this is just like the structure, array destruction. Yeah. So what I'm just saying is I'm just like spreading it in the parentheses here. Some people might not do it that way. You might have it this way and just come down here and say const and do something like ID, name, description, and just come here and say equals to product. This thing is very simple. I know this product is an object. So I'm just extracting the ID, the name, and description here. So in that case, I don't need to be continuous repeating products. That can be tiring. And if not even that, it could even cause some bug when you are typing. Maybe you are fast, you have done something like that, please. But you already structured it, so you only have an issue here. So that is that about that. Now, what I want to now do is this. I will not do wrapper because let me just tell you this. I have the wrapper here, and here I've passed an href to the wrapper. But the wrapper, I want the wrapper to have some content. This heading should go inside it, this body should go inside it. And that's why we say wrapper dot append. Okay, so I want to append heading and body to it. Okay, so at the end of the day, I'm going to return wrapper. Okay, so what I'm going to now do is that I'll just come here and say render single HTML. I'm going to just pass product to it. Okay, so and that's not the issue. That's not the only thing I need to do here because this render single HTML just know how to come up with the wrapper. But if you look at our HTML here inside this div of it, is it movie what? Okay, inside here, I think I need to reformat this because it's not easy to read. So I need to move it here. I need to just add something else. So I have to come back here and say, okay, I know you are very good in generating an item. So, but we want to add it. I'll say const. Let me say item. Let me say DOM item because to this. So I'll now come down here and say, this is the movie list here. I'm going to add it. I'll say movie list dot append. I want to append the DOM item to it here. Okay, well, you have to be very careful. Okay, let me just show you what happens so that you guys can see it there. we're having an error here. I will load it again. So it says on courts in promise, type cannot destructure property ID of product as it is undefined. Why is it that way? ID, name, we have ID there. Why are you saying destructure it? This is another thing. And luckily, because I've been trying to test it, so the error is from line 21, inside single. There is the error here. The ID is here. This is ID here. So why is it not? Why is it saying that I can't get it? Why? ID of product as it is undefined. Okay, no problem. You can go back here and go to the line 21. Oh, this is the problem, guys. Look at line 21, 20. I am actually destructing product for product, which is very wrong. So I need to come back here and say, no, no, no. I just want product for product. So if you look at it, I have another error that says reading index.js for line 41 append. So somehow this append is having canary property of null. Line 41 append movie list dot append. Why? What happened? Anybody? Anybody? Why are we having that issue? If you look at this, it's saying that movie list dot append. Think saying is the property is of now. So it's saying. All right. I think to make this easier for us, let's try to debug. I'll put a breakpoint here. This is what we call breakpoint. I'm going to put a breakpoint here, and I will run this all over again. What happened is that the code will stop here, and I have to just do a stepping over. Let's see what happened here. This is actually undefined. I step into it, and I move on. Look at it. This is the body here, and this is the wrapper here. Continue to step into it, step into it, step into it. Append now works. I'm stepping into it now. Then I return the wrapper. The wrapper comes back. As you can see the product is showing here. Product ID 17, name, blah, blah, blah is showing. And the DOM item is actually showing as well. If you look at it here. Okay. So what happened is that I will step into these two. Wow. Okay, just step out. I'll just run it. I'll come back here. Something is wrong. Append. Now appending this. What happened? Let's try something, please. Let me try something like this. I will say this. No. The DOM term is there, so an element, so she works. Let's say test. item. Then I'm just like doing this. Okay. I will run this, but while I'm running it, let's just try to remove it here and just add the breakpoint here. So that's the same issue we are having there. Was it that we are not having, okay, let's come down here. This movie list, I think this is correct. Are we actually getting, oh, let me come down your console with the log. Are we getting movie list? If we're getting it, then we want to know. I'm going to comment out this. Now I'm going to remove this. So move on, come back to console. Oh, and see this movie list is not. That's the problem. You are muted. Don't know if that's the point, but that happened. Looks like somebody is muting me. All right, please just give her the time to just like do this thing, please. So the issue has to do with these parts because if you look at this movie list and this is it here, we have some images inside here. So if you are getting it, we should have something. It shouldn't be null. So once we are able to resolve that, I think the issue with this will just be resolved by itself. Let's just go and check it again or reload. Oh, what's the issue? Any issue with this? Anybody? Movie list shouldn't be this. All right. Now let's try. Let me just try something because obviously that code this code, if that this code should work. But could it be that our code here somehow? Could it be that we need defy here? Let's see. Because we have a lot of async function here, and somehow most of them are not available. Let's see. So I'll come down here and let's do this. Wow, it's working now. Please. This is to tell you that you, as a beginner, you are working on a particular task and you are hitting a roadblock. It doesn't mean that you are not perfect. It doesn't mean that you are not giving it all. Please, this thing is common. If you're a dev, you should be, well, in fact, your number one friend should be your bug. When you see bug, you should just relax, take a chill pill, drink some water, take a walk, come back to it, and you just solve it. So let me go back to why we are having that issue. When we didn't have this, we didn't have that defer attribute in the script tag, what happened is that JavaScript, as you see, JavaScript is single-threaded, meaning that JavaScript can only do one thing at a time. But immediately you add that defer there, it means that JavaScript can suspend, can like create like another thread to say, please, I want you to be doing something. Why I continue doing something? That means the main thread will continue working. Why you can just like give the task that is not yet ready to another thread. Okay, I think that's like maybe the top level explanation here. So what happens is that when it comes to this level, and you realize that this is not like this is just a typical script attack. It doesn't have defy, it doesn't have a sync there. So you understand that, see, when I don't have defy here, I need to execute this before I come down to this. So you make sure it complete this. And what happens is that when it reach here, it jumps down to this index.js. You execute this line, it just go one line, and when it now reach to this level, moving list, which is here. What is moving list? Moving list here is not available, it's undefined. So that is why it finished executing this, but when it reached here, it discovered that moving list is not existing. So yeah, that's not my concern. We just move on. So when it now finish this, it now continue to just go. But from your own point of view, you will not be able to understand all those things, please. So the issue is that when you bring the file here, the code will work. In fact, let's see it. You see that the code is working, right? Good. Now let's come back here and just like remove this. Remove comment from here. I don't want to see you here. Okay, will it work? It still works. Reload. It still works. Sometimes something that is obvious will not work for you. The reason is that you are missing a particular concept. You don't understand maybe just a tiny things, maybe a little details you don't get there. That's the reason why you're having it. To just calm down. But there are different ways when you are talking about debugging. There are different ways you go about it. I just told you when you are trying to solve an issue and it's proving stubborn. Believe me or not, leave your system, take a walk, drink water, talk to somebody, and come back. Sometimes that works. Sometimes that will not work. The next thing you need to do is to do a kind of work called rubber ducking. Rubber ducking is like talking to your system by yourself. In fact, in cases whereby you have a friend beside you, you can just talk to that friend that I'm trying to do this thing. In fact, most cases, immediately you start that conversation, you get where that error is coming from. Immediately, in fact, you will not even get, you might not even finish explaining to that person. You get, no, wow, this is the issue. Then when that fails to work, you talk to somebody who is actually above you, who knows better than you as far as that problem is concerned. So that is just it. If you can use that 3 steps, believe me or not, all your issues will be solved by yourself within just like few hours or like few minutes. So I need to just call out this place. As you encounter issue, we too encounter issue. When you bring your issues to me, I need to read it first and understand it before I can actually say anything. So take some moment to, in fact, it's good for you to read your errors, because when you want to explain it to anybody, if you don't understand it, you'll not be able to explain it very well to that person. And if you don't table your issues well to anybody, believe me, in fact, even doctors, if you tell doctor this and that, the doctor might not even get you. He needs to go and do some testing. So please, that is it there. So the code is working now. I'll just move on there. It doesn't matter whether I use ID, please. Maybe someone might be, it doesn't matter whether I use ID or class. Class will still work. I'm removing it back. I will remove this again. I will return this back to movie list for class. I'll say movie list here. So it will still work. It still works. So that is that about that. And I think by now we should have something here. Okay, so I would come down here. I will remove this comment, and this time around, I'm going to put DOM item. Sorry, DOM item. So now we should have some items here. So you see it here. I have the two items there. One doesn't have the paragraph, the other has something there. All right. So one thing I like to explain here, I think somebody asked us the question, something, I think in the channel, somebody asked that, how do we just like remove this? So I just want to do some formatting, but before the formatting, please, you can see all these images you see here, they are static. I need to clear it first. I need to remove it first. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is that I can just do like here. Okay, I can just do movie list dots. Let's go with this. I'll just clear it. I'm clearing it, and let's see what happens. You see it now? So we now have this. So the next thing I'm going to do that I think I need to do is that if you look at this class, we have content mod here, right? I want to add a class to these words. I want to add a class to this. How do I add a class? I can just come and say wrapper dot class list dot add. I'm going to add this. Okay, let's see if that works. I don't know, but let's see. Is it working? I don't know. Let's just come down here. I'll click here. I just want to see. Now you can see we have it there, but it's not actually working the way I want it. So if you really want it to work, because the question says you have to, show it in a grid. So let me just see this class. Is it actually in form of a grid? Movie list class. We don't have any class for movie list. Wow. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to add a class here. I can say maybe display flex. Let me say width is 100%. I can just do like maybe box shadow. I just want to like have, but let me just do border. We'll say 1 pixel solid. Good. Well, red is not good. Let me just use like something like black. Doesn't matter. All right. So I can just use height to be no. All right. I think I did a mistake there. I'll copy this. I'll reload this. So I'm going to come down here and put this here. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put it here. Okay. I will just like maybe, let's see, should we just go with this? I'll say wrap in case everything just like then I can just do flex direction. I think we should just use flex direction. I will just use row. So you can see everything is side by side now. So that means I have to just copy this. The reason why I'm doing this is because when you come back here, there is an instruction that says that you have to show that in a grid. Okay, where is it now? This is it. Create JavaScript functionality to render a grid of product data in HTML as thumbnails, right? Thumbnails can be synonymous to like a card. Okay, and if you want to render like 1 or 2 cards, you need to just either you use grid, CSS grid, or you use Flex. I'm using Flex here now. Okay, so what I need to do is that I need to just come back to the CSS file, search for movie list. Where is CSS? Yeah, so Control F. Movie list is not even there at all. So what I'm going to do now is that I will go back to the top of the file. I will create a class dot movie list. I'm done with that. But that's not the only thing. This, let me just go back here. This, click this and just over on this. You see this content mod there. I don't know which class is this, but I can't find it here. So I need to do something to these two. Or let me just come down to this class. We have a class, but the class is not here. I'll just say, like, let me just say maybe width, or create a width of maybe 33.33%. I just want it to just, okay. I can say height. I will just fix it to be like maybe 50 pixels. I think I should just go with like 100 pixels. Just anything anyway. But to look like a kind of thumbnails, I will just add like a kind of box shadow here. I know this is CSS, and you guys should know it, but I just want to tell you that this CA is something you can do, because I know most of you guys pass JavaScript 1. So the same thing there. The only thing is that we are now introducing you to CMS, WordPress API. Okay, so now I'm going to do maybe, let me just do something like this, please. I know, yes, I just want to like, oh, okay. I'm going to put a color now. I'm going to do something. This is just like something simple, so I can just say maybe something like gray. I just want to use something like this, so then I can have like a kind of maybe margin 0. I will not use 10 pixels. Good. So this is what I'm going to have here, and I'm going to go back to my code and just like create content mod. It's a class, right? Content mod. It's as simple as that. This is your code. So I'm not actually saying this is the best CSS you can have, but at least this is something that they are talking about in this part. I'm taking my time to just go through this. Okay. Then don't forget that there's what we call featured products. Now I've been able to finish this. Maybe I should just finish this first. Okay. Now, what do I need to do now? If, in fact, I think I have like, let me just come down here. I'll come down to this item. If you inspect this, you see that you have this thing here. But this is not perfectly correct, because if I click it now, it's not going to take me to anything, anywhere. And see, it's just append this thing here. And that's not where we want to go. So where we're supposed to be going is that I don't know whether there is a details page or something like that. So we don't have it here. So all you just need to do is just come down here and create new file, say details.html. I can just create like a typical HTML code. I'll change this title and say maybe details of products of movie, rather, this movie. I can just come down here and say, I think we should just have like header. This is how I go about mine. Or I can come here. I will just stop here, please. Then in this main here, so this is details.html good. If I come back here and change this to details, you will see what happens. So details.html. This is exactly what you guys are doing. So if you look at it, you can see we have this is it. So what I'm going to now do is that I will come back here inside my index.js. Instead of just ordinary this, I will now say details.html. Then in this case here, let's just like have something like maybe I just want to have like a text data. Welcome to details page. Now let's come back here. We go back to where we are coming from. This is the item. I'll click here. You can see. Now you should go to details page. I'll reload. Click this. So that's it. Okay, this is currently it's giving me an error. Why? Because this is details. I'm linking it to detail. So that's two different things. I'll come back here. I'll add an S to this. So that works now. So if this works now, so that means by just clicking on that, I'm going to index page. So the only thing you need to just do now is that I can just create like another div, another script and say maybe details.js. Then inside here, you have to just create a script here and call it details.js. Now, this is where maybe separation of concern works now. If you look at it, I have this thing here, right? And I have this. I have everything here. Okay. But believe me or not, I only need the base URL and the product URL here. I don't need feature URL here. So what you could do is that you can just like copy this and bring it down to details page and just paste it there. But is that not code repetition? When you are repeating code, you are bound to make mistake. You are bound to copy, to have some typing error. So this typing error you are seeing, it might look simple to you, but that could be the reason why you spent hours debugging code just because you are lifting code. So that's the solution to that is just to create like a file. You can call it constant.js. Sorry, this is not correct. So rename constant.js. Then you come back to index.js, lift all these, copy, and bring it down here and say this, and paste it there. You can export. But export everything, say base URL, I'm exporting you. Featured, I'm exporting you. Product URL, I'm exporting you. I just export everything. So the only thing to do now is that you can now come back here. Instead of this, let me comment this out. I can now just say import. You guys knows about import exports in JavaScript 1. Okay, I'll bring it base URL. I'll bring product URL from what? From constant. What happened? From constant.js. It might not work, but we need to test it first. Believe me or not, please. We might not work. We need to test it because let's just see, please. It's good to just see it that something is not working. That you guys now see. We now try to just do a kind of debugging here. So it looks like the code is still working. Wonderful. It's not working. The code is not working again. Why? Let's come down to console. You can see. Can I use import statement outside a module? You guys must have come across this error before. So why are we having that? Is because in the index.html page, please can see all those error. This is like I'm just trying to just touch something. You can have type here, type module, because you want to use import export. So you need to do something like this. Let's just come down here. Will it work? Undo. Oh. So relative reference must start with this. So now the error has changed. So what that error is saying is that I have to come here and say dot /. So will that work? It's working now. Please. Now I don't have to repeat this code again here. All I need to do here again is just to import here. Import. I will import base URL. Now import featured. No, this is featured, right? It's not feature. I don't need feature here. I need product URL. Okay, and then let me come back to constant. Where is constant? Okay, I have it there. I'll come back here. And then another thing I need to do here is that this function you see here, all this function you can actually do. You can lift it up again. You can copy it. So, but for now, I will only lift fetch this. I will only leave this or copy. I'll come down to constant. I'm going to add that here too because so I will export this as well. We'll say fetch fetch single. So here too, I will bring in fact, in that case, I don't even need this again. I just need to bring in fetch. The reason why I don't need that, you can see now, look at it, let me bring this one here. I move this away from here so I can comment it out because I don't need it. I'll move this also from here. Copy, comment out. I'll bring it down here again. Okay. Then this one will now be fetch. It's not that if you leave it here, it will not work, it will work, but to make your code easy to read, that's what I'm trying to do. Okay. So now, in fact, in this case, I don't even need product URL because product URL is here, is associated here. So all I need to just do here is just to bring in fetch products. Simple. The code will still work. Let's check it. The code is still working. But I will remove this now. You will see that I will have less code here. If you want, you can do the same thing here. You can shift everything back to here. So everything you are doing, you just be exporting it from constant. That's separation of concern here, please. I'm just trying to just do that. So to now help me now, I have this here. And I think there is something I still need to move from here. I think single product, I need to move that here as well. I will copy, comment it out, come down to constants, or bring it down here and single products because I need single product in details this thing. So I'll say render this. So I think I don't even need this. Okay, I need this here. So I will delete this and I'll come down to this place. I'll say render single. Is the code still working? It's still working. Please, I hope you guys are getting what I'm trying to say, please. If you are lost here, please let me know. Okay, if you are lost here, please just let me know, please. You can see we have exceeded our time, but I don't want to just like say because of time. If it's worth getting beyond that, I think we have to do what we need to do because if you don't understand a simple concept at this level, however, when you now go to second year and all those simple things, you don't grab it again. So that's why I don't care about saying the session should be on 1 hour and no, I don't care. Once we are able to just do this thing, so let's just do it once and for all and just get it done. So I think this is the first time I'm trying to just introducing a proper separation of concern to you guys. So why shouldn't I just take my time to just explain this? Okay, so that is it. You can see I have less code here. Everything is working. Index is just pure as simple as that. The code is easy to read. You know where this one is coming from, this one is coming from. Everything is just easy. We're not mixing things together. So the same thing with here. So what I'm going to now do that is that I'm going to bring this render single product. I'm going to reuse it. I'm using it here. And I'm going to reuse it here in these details. I will say render again. I will come here and say render this. So as simple as that. So what I need to just do here, in fact, I don't have issues. I don't have issues here at all. But let me even see. Render single. It accept product. Good. What I will now just come down to do here, I will just say const product equals to const product equals to fetch single. Mind you, fetch single accept an ID. I need to get the ID. I will say const ID from the URL. I think we have a URL search params. Do I still remember? Oh, I think it's new. No. Is it new? Sorry, I need to quickly do something. Console.log. I will say ID. I don't want to look it up. So let's just try and see. So I'm going to click something there. We'll bring him down here. And then we have anything. Oh, latest dot not found. What happened? Something is wrong. You are a search params. What happened to you? No, that's not even the error we're having. The error is line 8. What happened in line 8? Oh, something is happening in this index.html file. No, details.html file. Where is it? This is detail. Okay. The thing is that you can't access this, so I have to just do const this script, then details. So that's it. Let's see. The error. So the same thing is saying the same thing that this is saying. So we have to just come down here and say, no, I will say type of module. A moment, please, guys. Just give me a second, please. I need to just do something here. So sorry, I'm back now. Where are we? Okay. Now we need to get the ID from the query params here. But obviously, if you look at what I'm experiencing here, okay, this is module. Okay. Something. Yeah. Let's go back to the previous page. Now when I click this is for DS line 4. Oh, I know. So the error we are having here, please, maybe you guys should just say, let's look at the error again. Saying that error aborted 404. Meaning when we see 404 simply means not found. Whenever you see 404 anywhere, it means not found. It means that something is not found. And what is not found, I can see this script / constant is not found. So when you see this error, what happened? As in fact, it's there, not found. So what happened is that if you click this, you discover that this is line 4 here. It's expecting me to just do some kind of .js here because the file is .js file. So I need to specify that. So if you come down to details.js, you have to come down and see details, not just .constant.js here. Okay, that's, I think now we should just have something to just rely on. Now say constant.js line 13 not found. Again, we come back here, line 13 not found. Okay. So, but before we go, good. I think this is actually okay. A moment, please. So I think we are on the way. I will say params. I'll call this params. No. Just params. I don't need you to just params. Let me just say const ID equals to params dot get ID. I want to get ID there. I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but I just see. Let me go back. I'm getting this saying. So the reason why we're having this error is because ID is none. Yeah. Let me quickly look up what this. So please, anytime as a front-end engineer, we don't expect you to cram things, please. We don't expect you to cram things. So anytime you are trying to figure out things, and it's not just is the essence why we have documentation here. This is URL search params, and if you look down here, you see an example and see param string. Okay, I need to pass the string. Okay. So I need to pass like maybe locate under search or something like that. Let me just do location dot search or something like that. Because what I understand here is that look at the example here. In fact, the example here is saying that yes, when you use this, you need to get this, the param string here, you need to pass it to it. So what location the search does for me is just to like get whatever I have inside this address bar here. So hopefully that will work. Oh, now it's working. You get it now? So please, you can see it. I can't actually remember how you use search params. So I have to come down to documentation. You read it, see it, interface define utility method to work with query string of URL. But yeah, it accepts an argument. And look at the constructor, it returns a URL search params object. And this is instance method. A lot of things you have it there. You can see the get method I just used there. And here I got to know that you need to pass this string. So the way I'm passing the string is just to use location of the search here. Okay, so but to make this code readable, I will just come here and say cons query string. I'll call this query string, and I will now say location the search. So instead of me to just, because it's not readable this way, when you say inside it, I have location listed. So when I say query string, so that is actually readable this way. So now I have an ID. So what I need to do now is just to pass the ID to this place. You will see now that when I console log the product, we see product will come. Because that is the primary thing that when I get the product, then I can now think of what test do I have to do. I'll come down here. This is a promise. Good. It's working, but it's returning a promise. That means I have to somehow do a kind of await here. I need to do a kind of await. So what I'll just do is I'll create a function render. Let me just call it render. No, before function, it should be async function. Render. Should we call it that way? Render products. Let me call it. So we are not passing anything. I'm moving this inside it. Good. So now this should be inside it as well. So because I'm having this, I'll await it here. So what happened? Reload. I'll go back to the previous one. I'll click this. So nothing is showing because I need to come down and say render product. So what happened? I think it's working now. Good. Now I'm getting the product. So it is inside that function. I'm going to use it. I'm going to call this man, this render here. I'll copy it, bring it down. I'll do this. Okay. I'll say, okay, let me just come down here. There's something I need to just do here. I'll say products inside there because this as a product. Let's take a moment to just look at this constant. I'll bring the constant here. This is a render single HTML. You accept a product. I'll just do that. And then I create all these. I need, so at the end of the day, it returns a wrapper. Okay. I have to accept the wrapper. I will say product HTML equals to this. Okay. I'll remove this. Good. Now, where do I want to now add this product to the HTML? What I'll just do is I will just say, let me come down here and say const main wrapper equals to document dot query select main. Reason why I'm doing that is because I have main here. I want to render it here. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm just saying I'm selecting that main so that I assign it to the variable main wrapper. So I will now come down here and say main wrapper dot append product HTML. Are we making sense? Let's see. We might have error, we might not have error. Good. You can see. Now I'm getting details now. If I click this, I get it. Then if I click this, I get it. But something is not working perfectly. Believe me or not, let's just show you. Something is not working perfectly. Look at it. When I go back here, I reload this page, you will see that, first of all, I have something there. So we need to have a loader. We need to have like maybe something like a loader or something like a spinner or anything. But to demonstrate what a spinner should look like, what I will just do here is that inside this here, I will say, I'll come here and say paragraph. I will say wait. the loading. Anything, please, is in progress. I just want to show you. That is not enough because look at it. We will see something that will happen here. When I just click this, you say, wait, loading later. But I want to remove this when this is there. Let's come down here. I'll come back to my details this thing. I'll come here and say, anytime you come here, main the wrapper dot inner HTML, but inner. You can use text constant, you can use anything, but I think let's just do this. Say text contents. I don't know. I'll just do this. I'll pass empty string there. Okay, let's see. I'll reload. So instead of that paragraph, what you need to do is just to replace it with a spinner. Put your spinner here. The code is working perfectly right now. So if you go back to the brief, please, you can see it's as if I'm just like if I go back to the brief, we've been able to achieve this. We've been able to achieve this. We've been able to achieve that. We have not been able to achieve this. Okay, but we've been able to achieve this. So this is the only thing I would say maybe, and it's very simple. This exactly the same thing you are doing here. In fact, let me just like take some moment to just show you what I think we should just do there. Just to filter it out, I'll come back here. This is where is the movie list? Yes. Inside, just under this movie list, I can just create a div and create a class and call the class maybe featured movie. Okay, I just create it. Simple as that. I can create a kind of H3 element and say featured. Okay, so what I can do here, I can come back to index here because let me come back to constant. Where is constant? I think we have feature something there. Oh, we have feature there, but it's very simple. What I have to just do here is very simple. Single product is there, right? And good. Fetch this fetch. So what I can just do is just to come down here. I will just drop this one down. I will now say fetch featured products. Featured. Okay. And I'm exporting it down here. I will say fetch featured. Okay. And now when I come back to this index.html, I will say fetch here. Okay, I'll affect that. So now render products, do this, do that, do this. So I can just come here. There is a way you can modify this. Okay. In fact, okay. In fact, I don't need to even do anything. I will just come here and say const featured product. Not featured, just featured product. Featured product equals to you await again. Then this time you are fetching featured product. Simple as ABC. Okay, but I think I still need to do something here. Featured products. I need to change this product URL to featured URL. It's as simple as that. What you just need to do now we have featured products here. And then what I'm going to do now is that I will just repeat this. I will repeat this. But this time around, it will be featured products. Featured products. I have to change it back to product because it could be more than one. So now, but this, I will not be assigning it to movie list. I'll be assigning it to featured movies. I will just come back here and say, now we are doing featured movie list, right? And it's not this, I'll say featured movies. Featured movies. Then instead of this, it will be featured movie list. I'm going to remove this. Are we talking sense here? Let's see. So we should have it. I'm going to go back to the previous page. I will reload. Nothing is showing because we have an error here. We have an error in line 21. Let's go back. And the error is DOM item is not defined, line 21. In fact, take some time to understand it here. Click this, line 21. DOM item, I've removed it. There's nothing like DOM item here. Okay, I have to go back and bring in DOM item. Why did I remove DOM item in the first place? I need this. Okay, it was when I removed the console log that I removed it. So good. So will it work or not? Let's see. Good. Do you see it? So in fact, when you click this, it will still take you to the same place. So this is what they ask you, what we ask you to do. So please, this is now I've completed this. The last thing for you is just to come down here and just do something. So I can just come here and say this. Let me just say git status. Okay, I have a lot of things. Let me just say git branch. Which branch am I currently on? I'm on main. I would say git branch checkout -b. I would say maybe CMS task. CA task. Simple. Just a git add all. All of this. I would say git comment, commit m. I would say char. Say completed the maybe full features or something. The full. I just want anything that makes sense to you. Anything that makes sense. Good. The next thing to do is just push it, and that's it. So now I think it should be easy for you now to go through all this. Ruin this. All right. I'm so sorry for just going back and forth doing some stuff here. How happens when you're just working from home? A lot of people just around you trying to just seek for something from you. So that is it, please. I hope I've been able to clarify all this. So the only thing left is just for you to deploy, and this is optional. I just commit now. The next thing I need to do is just push it, just a git push. But I don't want to push it. I don't think I have. If I push now git push origin dash u, because this is a new branch, so you need to do something like this. Origin dash u CMS CA. What happened? CMS CA task. I don't know if it will go or not, but let's see. You can see I don't have access to that. So this is the person that owns this project. So I don't have access to it, so it will not go. But if I did it was mine, it will go straight away, and that's it. Please, I know you guys might have some maybe what I'm doing, I'm too fast or whatever, but I believe if you try and rewatch this video again, you'll grab everything that I've done. The only thing I think the only thing I have done here that you have not seen before is just the way I did the separation of a thing. I can see I start with a file. I don't bother myself with like I want to separate everything. No, that one is total nonsense when you start a work. When you start working on a project, just go with simple basic thing first. And as time goes on, we now be trying to extract things to their various files. You can see, if we look at, let me just close everything here. I just want to like show you YouTube, get out. If you look at the constant here, Constant asks like how many lines of code. This is just like a 46 lines of code. Details asks just 18 lines of code. How easy is this to read? It's so easy from my own point of view. So easy. You don't need to just. So if you want to read it, if you want to study this, it's so easy for you to study. So look at indent of this thing. What do I have there? Simple. I only have just how many lines of code. In fact, there are some spaces there that I would like to just remove. This is just like a less than 25 lines of code. And everything is working. And I have all these commented code. Please, before you push anything to your production or to Git, please try and remove your commented code. Oh, so that's it, please. Control Z. Good. Let's need to remove this. So if you have questions, I know we have gone way beyond. Good one, do it very they're okay, but quick again before you go. Are we gonna do more work on this current project later on next year or whatever? Please, I will say just give me some time to just like go through other things because like when you started this CMS, Oliver said that there are a lot of things that will just change. So I would like to just go through at least the projects exam and semester projects to see if you guys are going to just work on that. But believe me, I will just like update you in the main channel so that everybody will be aware. I think this is a valid question as far as I can tell. It's a valid question that you guys should be aware of, so you know what I want to just go there. And then are there gonna be a course or something later on that will make us better at writing our ideas, making it like one would like you just did? Yeah, obviously, you will be seeing it as you move on, because not directly, not that somebody will sit you down and say, we want to now to talk about modular or structure of your file, something like that. But as time goes on, the videos that you'll be exposed to, people will be trying to just go through this route. So we are very careful to introduce you to a lot of things like this when you start GS, because we know that you guys are still bothering your mind around grabbing the main concept, what is variable, what is closure, or what is a looping statement and what have you. So we are not talking about file structure. That would be too much of a thing to just give to you guys. But I'm so glad that a lot of you guys are now taking it upon themselves to just like do things. So I think I'm good now to introduce you to other things. So I hope we still have a lot of things. But my thing is that please, everything you see, be it in NORAF content or any content, please question it, because this is the right time for you to raise question. Everything, just like you did now, please, I think I like the question. It's a valid question. I'm going to just go all out and like seek some advice from other online teachers and see if, so I will come back and just update you in the main channel. All right. So this like 5 minutes past 1. I am glad that you guys are able to stick around, and I hope you guys benefit one or two things from this session. I wish you best of luck. Believe me or not, I know even after this session, you might still have one or two things to maybe something that is not working. Please reach out as early as possible. Please send a DM to me. Raise a question in the forum. Make sure that you get help. We are not interested in you failing. Please, I'm saying it again. That's why I took it upon myself to just like spend like 2 hours trying to just work. We are not interested in you failing. We don't want that. We just want you to get, why are we doing async? Why are we doing fetch? What gets it, so that because when you get this is what they want to test you. But in interview, they might ask you, why do you need fetch? What are the alternatives of fetch? If you don't use fetch, what else can you use? These are some questions you have. So that's it, guys. You can still reach out to me if you think something is still not very clear around your CA. Please reach out to me and let me see how I can help you. All right. So bye for now.